Welcome back to Flying Invisible Warships on Master of Magic Impossible difficulty level. Let's do a quick recap of where exactly we are. Our city, up to a population of 10, is back to having a rebel. We are only 2 turns away from producing our shipyard. We have one of our conquests finally working on a granary, one's working on a builder's hall. Both of them are in severe jeopardy as they do not have any defenders at all. That's particularly dangerous on impossible mode, which has a higher frequency of raiders and monsters, but we're going ahead and living with that risk for now. We are building up gold and mana for against the day, or in preparation for when we are going to be casting some kind of expensive flight and invisibility spells. Our first and then follow on flying invisible warcrafts or warships. Meanwhile, we have found the yellow capital, which is Clacon, and we have also found the pink capital, which is also Clacon. That means we're facing Lopan for yellow and Tlaylock for purple. Meanwhile, our intrepid magic spirits are flying along, doing some discovery for us. And they continue their exploration. Uh-oh. Bad news. We've got a Hellhound coming along here, and Hellhounds move at 2. I think there's just nothing we can do about it. So I'm hoping I don't lose too much gold to raiders, but it is what it is. There's just nothing really much I can do. Hellhounds right now. I knew that was a risk, decided to live with it. Niaru has been reduced to ruins. You've lost 1 fame. 104 gold pieces were looted. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, I finished the shipyard here, and I'm producing 20 per turn. And we just lost our extra food production. I don't want to continue having a rebel. I'm not willing to reduce the tax rate right now, and I really am overdue for adding some additional defenders here. And bowmen with their 1 shield, 1 ranged, and 1 melee at the starter level versus swordsmen with 3 melee, 2 swords. I feel like swordsmen are my better deal at this stage. So I'm going to quickly build a couple of swordman defenders here. If a similar set of Hellhound Raiders showed up at my capital, I would be in a world of hurt. And unfortunately, that city is just gone. The monsters totally destroyed it. It's a tough, dangerous world on impossible mode. And what's my city doing? I thought we were, oh yeah, producing swordsmen. That's right. Found another Lopan City there. All right, I got one additional swordsman. And I need 2 to reduce unrest by 1. Again, I'm keeping my magic spirits. I'm ending my turns over water here. Okay, Xantem completed a granary, and I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of spearmen up here so they have at least some kind of defense. What's our food situation look like? Okay, we're at 0 food, so we don't need to add or subtract farmers at the moment. We will as soon as any additional forces show up. All right, so now I got another swordsman. Finally, I can... Oh, wait, why is Maritime Guild? Oh, I take it back. I also have to build an armory before I can build a Maritime Guild. So armory is going to be 4 more turns here. And not bringing in nearly as much taxes since that little town got destroyed, and sadly. But, you know, it is what it is. And what is my food situation like? But we did get that rebellion under control. And because I've built up my buildings very quickly at this stage, I got to keep my taxes up because, 50 mana crystals in an unguarded lair. Unguarded cave. I like it. But I need to keep my taxes high because I've built a lot of buildings and they have upkeep every turn. Oops. Left him on land at the end of his turn. And wow, neutral city. Interesting. The computer, for whatever reason, is often not very aggressive on taking over neutral cities. Now, what is our... Okay, now I'm -1 on food, so I'm going to lose something. And I'm going to convert this worker to a farmer. This will slow down the orc city, but that's okay. I keep my capital producing as hot as it can. All right, at this point, we are ready to start a maritime guild, which is the last building we need to build a warship. Unfortunately, Maritime Guild has an extremely high cost of 400. It takes a lot to build the infrastructure to build a warship here. And that's at 16 turns. It costs 400, and if you can use gold to speed up production, but if no production has started, then you have to pay 4 gold for every point of production. I don't have nearly that much gold, so we're going to just have to, at least this next turn, just let it build. And there's another yellow city. And now let's go take a look at what's going on in the capital. Okay, now we only have 15 turns left. Before it was 16. And notice how we're dropping in about 26 points of production per turn. And so when you have less than 1/3 of the production of something, then you have to pay 3 gold for every point of production. When you've made no progress at all, then it's 4 gold per point of production. If you've made at least a little progress, then it's 3. And if you're at least 1/3 of the way there, it's 2 gold per point of production. And that's the best deal you ever get. So at this point, At the 3 gold per turn, it would be 900 or more gold to finish up the Maritime Guild right now. However, there's a little trick you can play, and you can say, well, what if I changed my mind and wanted to build a settler? Well, I'm over half the way to a settler, so I'll buy that. And that's only 56. But what's bigger than a settler? Well, what about a shrine? I'm over, so to upgrade to that amount of production is only 92. And what's more expensive than a shrine? Forester's Guild, that's 200. And I'm halfway there, so I only have to pay 200 gold to complete the last 100 points of production. And now, instead of being 15 points away, instead of being 15 turns away, I'm now only 8 turns away from a Maritime Guild. And I'm down to 64 gold, so that is as good as I can get right now. And I'm just wondering, looks like I can, oh man, well, looks like I can back off a farmer here for a bit. I got some unrest going, get another spearman built. Oops. Huh. Oh, okay. Well, whatever was going on. And we keep exploring along. Tlaylock has cast Aura of Majesty. That improves your relationships with other wizards, except it does nothing for me. It doesn't make me like Tlaylock even the least bit better. But his opposing wizards will now look on him more fondly, and he already had a peace treaty anyway. Sometimes the computer doesn't seem to have particularly good thinking on the different spells it wants to cast. Oh, by the way, just for future reference, this was a Yak Klakon city and another Yak Klakon city. If a magic spirit might get us by, or a phantom beast might get us by 3 or 4 swordsmen, this city has 6 halberdiers, so it would take a whole lot more that I can come up with in phantom beasts to produce that. Great worm, big, scary, way beyond what I will be able to do for the foreseeable future. And busy exploring. Okay, now we're back to 2 spearmen. And the question is, okay, so that took care of that unrest. Really, for this city to grow and be valuable, Marketplace and Farmers Market will build its population and economic growth, and Farmers Market gives me another food bonus that I really want. So we're going to keep these orcs growing. And unfortunately, it looks like there's no forests at all in that area, so a sawmill and Forester's Guild is not going to be eligible for that city due to the lack of forest. So they'll just continue to be cheerful taxpayers, bringing in a bunch of bread and a couple golds, which allows me to accelerate things in my capital at least. And still got plenty of exploring left to do. Wow, okay. So that's an enemy wizard city. And a pretty nice nomad city at that. let's go look and see how we're doing compared to our opponents. It's all the way to March of 1406, so 6 game years have gone by. Purple's a whole lot stronger than yellow. Tlaylock's a lot stronger than Lopan. Both of them way more powerful than me. And on impossible mode, they get huge bonuses. Okay, so this guy has now made his way all the way around this. He's now met up to the spot where the other magic spirit started. Let's redirect him back and see if he can help explore a little more of this landmass here. Can head over here. Just run over there. Oh, computer doesn't route the same way I would. So he ended his turn over land. Maybe I better do the routing here. Okay, we've got a maritime guild, and finally, we're even up to 12 population. That's pretty sweet. Finally, we can build us a warship. And warships require 4 gold per turn to keep in the field. And they cost 160 to build. They have a very nice 10 melee, 10 ranged attack, which is a long range boulder attack. And it's going to take us 7 turns to build one. As soon as we build it, though, we're going to want to drop flight on top of it, because we want these guys flying across the board. So that's going to take 3 or 4 turns. At the point we get down to 3 turns to go, we got to go ahead and start casting that spell. We're down to just 100 gold, so we're not really going to be able to warship significantly. We got 700 in mana, and so we're going to have the ability to cast those spells initially on one warship. Doom bats. I don't know if flying warships are not. Flying invisible warships aren't the best at flying opponents, and so I don't know how they do against Doombat. Whole lot of country to explore here. Okay, I am hoping this magic spirit can safely cross the landmass there. Doesn't look advisable. What about... Okay, we kind of got yellow going on here, but let's see what we can do. Wow, yellow and purple all mixed in with each other. No, we don't want anybody to die. What about... Okay, so we need more farming, because this guy got up to 5, and we're going to stick the farmer there. And really, he's all farmers. That slows down his marketplace. But what we're all about is getting that first warship at the earliest possible date. Okay, so this guy's hoping he can stay away from the enemy. And he needs to somehow get back over on the... There we go. Oh my gosh, I forgot to start casting flight. Shoot. I should have started that a couple turns ago. All right, we're casting flight. And I'm going to leave him there until flight's ready to cast, because first thing he needs to do is head north. Scouts have spotted zombies within the ruins. Nope. Okay, back over water. And shadow demons, they are pretty fairly tough and nasty. There we go. And at least the... Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, we got a mess of skeletons coming. That is bad, bad, bad news. The warship is there to help in the fight, though. I think. I don't exactly know if a warship in port can contribute to the fight. So, frankly, it's interesting. Get a little bit of construction here. What would really have helped if I'd built walls in the past. And the question is, I just don't have enough gold to build those walls. I could convert some mana back, but I really need that mana for the flying. And I'm hoping I've got defense enough here. How quick I can get to walls. The walls are only 2 turns away now, but shrines 100, settlers are 54. Yeah, I just don't have, well, okay, city walls. And I would need about 100 in gold. How close am I? So for 100 in gold to build walls, I'd need to convert about 100 in mana to gold. Or no. For 100 in gold, I need 70 more. I need to lose 140 in mana. This is probably overreacting, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. So, magic, alchemy. Let's convert power to gold, about 140. I wish there was a way to... Also, if there was a way to... to delay the... Well, actually, though, I wonder if I really have to. Let's cancel this. Next turn, he'll be next door, and then he'll be coming in. So, I've only got 1 turn to pull this off. This is going to be a short show if I don't do this, so let's do it. Magic, alchemy, power to gold, convert. It's going to be a big dent. Okay, now we got the gold. 172. I was way off in my math somehow. I don't know what happened. But I still got 1 flight and invisibility. I just don't have enough for 2, unfortunately. And I'm going to be in negative gold for a while here until I can get some conquests going. So, just making sure everything's healthy in my city. How's this other city doing? You're okay. Food's okay. And just be done. All right. Now that I've constructed the city walls, I can go back to building my next warship. And I get a flight spell. Now I got a flying warship. You know, if I'd realized I was going to have a flying warship, I think I had nothing to fear from the skeletons. I didn't have to buy my walls. But this was very late in the game to not have walls on my capital anyway, so I was kind of overdue for getting him. I'm not going to feel bad. And, oh my gosh. In fact, well, what does an owner of a flying warship have to fear from skeletons? And the answer is absolutely nothing. Let's go on the offensive. And this is where we start to see the beauty. I'm flying, and they have no way to engage with a flyer. So let's just go auto. Notice how it takes quite a few shots to take out the group of skeletons, and that's because even with an attack of 10, I've only got a 30% chance to hit, even at point blank range, so that's like 3. And their shields stop a little of that, depending on the luck of their rolls. So, all right. Okay, and now we need to, we've converted, oh, look at the Orc Town. I've got another guy I can make into a farmer. Wow. These orcs have turned out to be extraordinary farmers, and they'd all have to be farming away at my capital. It's really saved my capital from a bunch of production effort here. I just kind of... Okay. The first thing I want this guy to do, it's going to take a while to cast invisibility, and I can take on certain kinds of enemies with an opponent wizard. I better cast it, and it's going to take several turns to get there. So I might as well fly on up here and get that neutral city that earlier was too tough for me to take on. And Basilisk, I suspect, is too tough for me. Guardian Spirits, however, along the way, let's go defeat some Guardians we can wrestle up. Guardian Spirits are another type of fantastic creature that has no way to engage with a flyer. They look like they're flying, but they're only water walkers. So they can't hurt me, I can hurt them. Takes quite a few shots, but there we go. And inside you find a wind mastery spell. If I ever get the time and mana to cast it, that will speed up my warships, which is very valuable to this strategy. Frankly, I would have preferred a huge sack of gold in this case, but I will take a wind mastery. That does advance my cause. And as you can tell, that continent is swarming with... And what year are we at here? So we finally got our first flying warship in 1407. It's not even invisible yet. And look at how purple is growing their power. 296 mana in the bank, 571 mana in the bank. One of the risks on this strategy is going to be a disenchant, and that's an arcane spell that any wizard can have. It's really nice that these warships move for 4. That's a big plus to this strategy. Okay, we got some bowmen here, and they may be able to hurt us a little, but I think we got enough shields we can risk the bowmen. And bowmen tend to be pretty weak anyway. So we haven't lost any points yet. We're going to increase the distance to make it harder for the archers to hit us. Because we're long range, we still might hit them at this distance. Yeah, we did. Yeah, and see, we did actually end up taking a little bit of damage. Okay, the archers are now out of ammo, and these remaining units have no ability to damage me or engage with me. So they're going to have to just sit there and take it while I bombard them. This might take more than 50 turns. Nope, it didn't. Okay. No, we don't want to raise the city. We are looking for taxpayers. You've gained 1 fame. Nice. 34 gold pieces were looted. Didn't destroy any buildings. Didn't destroy any civilians, which is better than usual. All right, just like before, I can't afford to add these. Okay, so in this case, I can get spearmen right off the bat here. Let's go ahead and start with spearmen. And we'll have some in a couple turns. We actually got excess food at this point, so I might as well dial that back a little. Get the spearmen maybe a little sooner. No? Okay, what's my city doing? It's only 2 turns away from warship number 2. And what's my spell casting doing? Now by adding those taxpayers instead of negative gold, I'm slightly ahead on gold. Not by much though. So I'm going to have to pay a lot of attention to my gold until that changes. And spell-wise, I've just got 1 more turn for my invisibility. So I'm just about ready to take on, and the nearest capital is Tlaylock's capital there. So let's head for it. Now, just a quick question. What's over in there? Basilisk, again, tough and dangerous. I don't know that I can take a basilisk. So let us make a beeline for the yellow wizard's capital. And at this point, I'm going to send this magic spirit cross country because if we look at the big map now, what am I going to do with my magic spirits? We've found 2 out of 3 enemy wizards. Normally there's 3 enemy wizards on Arcanus, and the guy on Mirror is just growing, totally unchecked so far, typically. There is a chance, though, every once in a while you get 2 enemies on Arcanus and 2 on Mirror. And at this point, we've discovered so much of the country and have only found the 2 enemy wizards. We might be in a mode where the other enemy wizard is over on Mirror. But there's also this big section kind of directly east of Pink. Let's go, I think we need to go see if there could be an enemy wizard lurking over there. Meanwhile, we might as well use this magic spirit into the yellow continent here and see what's going on. If we can find a little body of water in there. Okay, invisibility now. And that is going to make our warship a lot harder to kill. It's also going to increase our upkeep, unfortunately. Let's see how we do going cross country here. And a line for, cockatrices, they're flyers. That's problematic for flying invisible warships. They can kind of chase me down. potentially and kill me. Not really tough enough for much real, honest-to-goodness, hand-to-hand fighting in a warship. Okay, there's Lopan's capital. Lopan's got 568 mana. I get half of his mana reserve if I can beat his capital city, and I would like that mana just fine. Oh, first sword patrolman, and I like to always have a minimum of a pair of defenders. Given that I just got done casting invisibility, I can afford to cast flight on this warship. And this warship, he needs to go join the fray on the enemy wizards. And so he can start sailing in that direction right now. And so far, doing an okay job. Whoop, there's an enemy. Let's try entering down a little lower. No, don't let anybody die, please. Our high men. I really like high men as a race. Converted one to a farmer. Again, I'm in so far as possible. I'm trying to keep all my farming going. Wow. I just don't like my odds of... well, you know, I'm not at war with purple. Let's go ahead and risk it. Doing a little exploring here with that guy. This guy needs to just keep sailing west. And now we're ready for our first fight. Let's see what we're going to face. Again, a disenchant, if it can knock out my... I want to take on the enemy wizards as early as possible. And that's because hopefully they don't have disenchant built up, which could knock out my flying and get it back. They got a bowman. That's all they've got with ranged attack. So let's see what we get here. Oh, and what is... so Lopan's all sorcery, a couple chaos, a lot of sorcery, a couple chaos, a couple life. No nature, so I'm not going to get webbed unless he has a rare hero that knows the web spell. Okay, he starts off with a counter magic. Now, one thing I'm going to want to do, because I'm a flyer, I can disregard the walls, or I can fly through the walls. And because I'm not punching through real hard, if I'm inside the walls, these guys have 2 less shields. And because I'm not punching very hard, that's a significant difference. So I'm going to actually fly inside the walls to fight them. Bowmen can engage with me because they have a ranged attack. And let's just go auto. Okay, and that took more than 50 turns, so I'm going to have to fly back in next turn. How dare you enter my territory and attack one of my cities? Such audacity can only be answered in kind. Well, yeah, I didn't expect you to just sit there and take it exactly. And even then, he didn't declare war with me. Well, notice how I took no damage, and he ended up with very few defenses. Huh. How did he get, how he managed to get a bunch more spearmen? But yeah, it looks like we're going to have a few. He can see me now, so he can fireball me, which only gave me 1 damage with the firebolt. I'm not doing full auto because I'm trying to minimize the range and shoot at point blank range for the best to hit ratio. If I'd done that before, I might have been able to do it in 1 turn. Also, fighting inside the city like this is going to cause a lot more collateral damage to a city I'm going to own soon. Yeah, 4,000 more inhabitants were killed, but I did get 2 fame. And I did loot 356 gold. And I banished Lopan. That means he's going to cast his Spell of Return, which is going to take him some time. And I got a Spell Lock and a Disenchant Area. Okay, I am casting Flight, right? Yes. And it looks like it's going to kick in next turn. So, strategically, I've got an important decision here. Do I want to mop up Lopan, or do I want to make a beeline for Pink's capital? And the answer is I want to make a beeline for Tlaylock's capital. Tlaylock has some nature, which means he could conceivably web and then Crack's Call against my warship. And that also means I better not fight him within the gates, or within the city like I did this time. And even though he's only got 1 sorcery, Disenchant is an arcane spell, so any wizard can pick it up. Disenchant True is the stronger sorcery spell, which he might get with 1 book. So I need to go after Tlaylock as fast as I can. Fortunately, though, I've got this 2nd warship to come along, and I don't need his invisibility as bad when the other wizard's banished, because he won't be throwing spells at me to kill me. So, all right, we got 2 defenders over here on our nice little Highman town. And I want to get walls on this pretty soon, but a granary and probably also a farmer's market will let me turn farmers into workers. And, whoa, 12 food. Because I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this city. Okay, here we've got all kinds of enemy Lopan units that would love to retake this city. Fortunately, it's only geared up to take spearmen. Can we build a spearman per turn? Oh, yeah, we can. Okay, so let's get a spearman for sure. Next turn. And food's kind of okay for now. What's our main capital city doing? Wow, population up to 14. And we're closing in on a 3rd warship. And hey, we got 4 defenders, we got walls. Now these defenders are not up to snuff if any kind of high level monsters come through. So we're definitely this lightly defended and nothing against magical flyers. This city's pretty vulnerable. But on impossible mode, we have to have a certain amount of boldness. Not at war with purple. Okay, these swordsmen want to attack, but they have no way to engage a flyer. So that was kind of an ill-advised attack. There was just no way they could win. Okay, we got to the point where we can cast flight over on this warship. And since this guy's only 3 turns away, I'm going to wait 1 turn and then cast flight so that when he shows up, I can cast flight right away. All right, wait 1 more turn and then with all this casting, I'm going to put myself in a pretty significant negative mana situation. I'm also not doing that great on gold, and I'm kind of wondering if I need to bump it up. Feel a lot better with 16 gold coming in, to tell you the truth. That leaves a bunch of unrest in my empire, though. I don't really need the gold right now at the moment, so I'm gonna. But I really want to increase my gold production. Wow, paladin! I just saw a paladin. Oh my gosh! Had no idea we'd be facing a purple paladin this early, but it's not really that early. It's December of 07. Okay, we got 1 spearman here. We got no troops on those triremes. I don't worry about enemy ships because they I'm gonna have a spearman next turn. Yeah, don't need to worry too much about enemy ships because they don't really cause any trouble on their own. They just transport guys. And oh my god, yeah, that guy was going to be doing a beeline, and I kind of forgot that for a second. In fact, let's go back to remembering that. Well, see, the thing is, my other warship's going to be over to take over that town any minute now. So we need to go over and attack purple. Uh-oh, that's why. Okay, so low pan we've eliminated. If I flee now, Spirit, I would rather not. So even though it's a little wasteful on mana, here comes a Phantom Beast. Oh wait, let's not do that. I don't think we're going to need to. Let's try to do 1 or 2 Phantom Warriors. Let's let them come to us. And there we go. Phantom Warriors take the day. And now this warship can take out the city. What do we... No ranged attackers, so our invisibility is not going to be a negative. These goals, and so I might as well attack them at point blank from this side and not from inside the city. And away we go. Wow. And I wasn't able to defeat them in 50 turns. But, you know, we shot a pretty big hole in them for sure. it does show me I'd like to have a couple of invisible warships going. Oh, and you know what? This was about the time we needed to, this is past the time when we needed to start casting flight. Okay, with 2 defenders in this former capital town, what do we want to do next? Wow, this is actually a pretty done-up city with a shrine. Clacons, frankly, just can't do a lot. But they can produce a library in 2 turns. We got 4 food left over, so really our high men city could back off one of its farmers. And I guess our poor orc city could back off one of its farmers. Right? We're still at 1 food, okay. And go on patrol. Wow. Paladins with a bunch of others. Wow. Paladins don't really have a way to hurt a flying warship, but they've got strong shields. So, well, and if their wizard was able to cast flight on them, they could rip. So this guy kind of discovering the yellow continent there. Ah, thank you for attacking me. That saves me having to chase you down and kill you. There we go. Kind of enjoying auto here, to tell you the truth. Okay. All right, this guy made it through to the other side. This guy is heading for Purple's capital. This guy's ready to wrap up taking over the city. I want to fight them at point blank range since they can't hurt me, because it's been taking so long to wipe these guys out. And there we go. Now we've captured a second low-pan city. 54 gold, 1 more fame. Oh, that was Lopan City, if I called it a Tlaloc City. Okay, this city has done... Wow. So unless I want to... This city is upgraded as far as it can. So... Well, we don't need to have any... We got to do in trade goods to produce gold. And that is... farmers everywhere else. Okay, I've got a 3rd warship here, and I don't really have casting ability to... I don't have enough mana income to support more than 3 warships flying around, especially with invisibility. So I'm going to boost my mana by putting a shrine in the city. And at this point, there's no reason to not bump up my taxes. I'm not producing warships on a tight time frame, so the fact that I got a couple rebellion workers and the 30 gold coming in, I may need a lot of gold income so I can afford more spell casting. And next turn I'm going to have flight, followed up by invisibility, so I need the money. I hope none of my cities are in trouble. So it's not about as farming as it can be now, because the bumping up the taxes is going to really increase Clacon unrest. But these cities, high men, I just really love high men. So okay, nobody's farming there. And orcs. Do we have enough food production to convert them all to workers? Yeah. Well, so far. And here's this brand new Clacon city. Oh, that's the old one. This new conquest, we spearmen. He can produce spearmen and swordsmen both. What's his production? He's not a fast producer, so being in enemy territory like I am, I'm gonna splurge. Oh no, I'm not. I'm just gonna let. Oops. Let's do that. I'm gonna let that. Well, let's see what we decide to do here. Okay, there's no enemies nearby, so I think he's got 3 turns to produce his first sport, his first spearman. And let's come over and see what we got in this lair. Great worm. Not going to be fighting a great worm anytime soon. And it looks like purple's already got a node. This guy is just... this magic spirit out here is trying to see if by chance there's a little island with an isolated third enemy wizard on it. And what's in this tower? Demon Lord. I don't think my warships can take on a Demon Lord, to be honest. Okay, and this is my brand new warship, which next turn should have flight on it. What was in this? Basilisk can't take, Cockatrices can't take, Great Drake can't take. So there's nothing here at hand. Sprites! Skydrake we can't do, but we might as well get those sprites while we fly by. Okay, human granary now. It's so quiet on my continent. I'm going to go for a marketplace and a farmer's market before I get, well, remember those Hellhound Raiders? I think this town needs walls now. Makes a big difference. Do I have enough food to, looks like it. Marketplace, the city's starting to produce something reasonable. Let's have him do walls too. And flight. And fly away. And we're ready to take on another city. Notice how these warships have a +1 scouting with flying, so we can see stuff at a little distance. What are we going to face in here? Everything ground base. So I wouldn't want this warship without invisibility to take on priests or anything. They might be able to mess me up with their ranged attack. Wow, it is taking a lot of shots to kill those behind the defenses of walls. Wow. And, oh, that's interesting. Oh, well, there is a little bit of land. Okay, we are closing in on Purple's capital. Still got the right city, I hope. Yep, there it is. And I need to take a break. Well, yeah, I better take a break right here. Here we are on 2. We are wrapping up part 2. We have banished Lopan. We have 2, 1 with invisibility, and I meant to start casting that additional invisibility as soon as I got flight going on the other warship. So I'm a little bit behind on that flight or that invisibility on the second warship. So next up, we're going to try to take out Tlaylock. Tlaylock has 3 nature, 1 sorcery, and 6 death books. 683 mana in the bank. That's the end of part 2. I look forward to part 3.